Hey guys, John here, Bip Bop Boom Channel. I'm going to show you some of the records I got in the last couple weeks and two records that were from a few months ago. They're VCLT, and I'm going to do some shout outs. I'm going to try to needle drop a lot of this stuff, and I'm going to ramble on, so it may be a long video, but I do have some good records, all different genres, and I think there'll be something for everybody if you stick with it, but you could always do it at fast speed, whatever. I'm going to start with a killer single, kind of an uncommon one, and it's Slade, Give Us a Goal from 1978. Slade were a huge band, probably England's biggest band, probably most important rock and roll band, keeping the flame of rock and roll going in the early 70s, early mid 70s, but they completely faded out. They went to America, didn't make it, came back to England in like 77, whatever, and then punk rock's going, and they were totally irrelevant, and they just kept trudging along. But they put out this single. This is a non-album track, Give Us a Goal, and this is, I mean, anyone from England could correct me, you're gonna know this stuff better than me, but this is like now the height of like the hooliganism at the soccer games, the soccer matches. I'm sure it was always going on, but they came back and they look like they got back more to their work, not that they ever left, but their working class roots they embraced again. And Dave is now shaved head again, like the early days. Noddy cut his hair, and they just look like tough Bava boys. And they put out a soccer song, which is really kind of uncool, like for a rock band to be doing. And this is on Barn Records. I think they were no longer on Polydor. I'm sure this is connected to Polydor, but they were now on Barn Records, which I think is Chaz Chandler's record, their manager, Chaz Chandler from the Animals. But the album before this, Whatever Happened to, tanked, and the album after this completely tanked. And this single did not make the charts, and they had all these number ones, and now they can't get arrested. But they put out this great soccer kind of rant song. It's a really good rock and roll. It's produced kind of in your face with no air. It's almost not well produced, but it actually kind of works for the type of music it is and doing that punk oi era. And now Slade is a well-respected band, but I almost have like this alternate history where Slade could have been big again with that whole oi scene, street punk scene, and they could have blended in and been like the godfathers of punk and oi. Now we kind of think of them that way, but they should have been, at the time, they should have been relevant. And this single, I'll put a needle drop, they should have been absolutely relevant in 1978. Great single. And this, if I didn't say this is German edition, because it's got the picture sleeve, there really wasn't too many picture sleeves for Slade out of England. But here's the needle drop. Next up is a VCLT I got from Mike, and I got this a few months ago. Mike, Uncommon Pala. And, I talk punk rock and stuff, and I know a little bit about punk rock, but I'm more of like a rock and roll guy who likes certain punk that fits into rock, and like it's in the rock and roll timeline. But someone like Mike, he's a true punk rocker, and he follows up, keeps up with the new bands, knows everything. Like, I don't know if he knows everything, but he knows a hell of a lot more than I do, and I recommend anyone into punk to check out his channel. But Mike sent me a heavy metal single by Banshee, and this was a band from 1983 out of Toronto, Canada. And I don't remember, I think this was released, or maybe it was just a demo, but this is a reissue that just came out in 2021 on their Urbane Grandia Records, UXB Press. And they just look awesome. And great picture of them inside. It's got the little story. And they cut the 2 songs. The A side is the kick-ass song called Breakdown. But actually, I am the Light, which is a longer track. I forget how long it is. 4:32 is a little more of that epic metal, and I actually think I prefer it. I think if I was spinning live, I'm going to play the A side. It's under 3 minutes, but the B side is great. This is a great 80s metal 45 by Banshee. Thank you, Mike, and I will put a link to his channel in there. Next up is VCLT from Alex. I collect records. I collect stuff. Alex, I'll put a link to his channel. This guy's got a massive collection of originals from the 1950s, early 60s of rockabilly, country, hillbilly, blues, R&B, awesome stuff. And he's out of Sweden, but he sent me this great oddball EP, and it's by Billy Stone and the Blue Boys. But it's really Herman Stone. Herman Stone was just this weirdo outsider artist, bad, terrible artist. And Alex, if you check out Alex's channel, you're going to learn a lot more about Herman Stone. But he never made it. He just wanted to, in his mind, he thought he was Hank Williams. So he just kept recording and releasing stuff, and it's god-awful, out of tune, terrible. But there's a beauty to, just the authenticity of this, and just as a crazy outsider artist. And this is recorded, see, he wouldn't get a hit, so he kept changing his names. And this is by Billy Stone and the Blue Boys, but there is no Blue Boys. It's just Herman Stone with a fake name, recording by himself. And all the songs on here, one's written by Herman Stone, one's written by Donald R. Mask, one's written by the Silver Dollar Kid, which is also Herman Stone, and one's written by Irene Johnson and Billy Stone, which is it's all Herman Stone under fake names. He would keep releasing stuff. And there's one track called The Assassination of JFK, which is the title's the best part of it. But I will play you, he's got one called Rock Rock Little Queen. So you'd think this was like a great rock and roll song. And this is out of his label, the Nortex label, and a division of Stone Enterprises. But I'm going to play you Adirondack Moon, a snippet of that. It is terrible, but it is awesome, and I love it. And thank you, Alex. I think this was only pressed in, let me see what Alex said, 100 copies. There's only 100 copies, so I have one, and I'm very happy to have this. I will cherish this. Get ready for some awful music. All right, next up, just got one of my favorites on 45. It's Cops and Robbers by Bo Diddley, and it's on this beautiful gold label. Gold label on Checker was the reissue label, like reissued just a couple years later. If they need to reissue, you don't see it too often. It's an uncommon, but I think in 59, I don't know what year this is. This is either anywhere from 59 to 64. The original was 1956, I think, maybe 57, probably 56. But the reason I got Cops and Robbers is because of Down Home Special, Down Home Train on the B-side. This is kick-ass. This is one of Bo Diddley's best tunes. The rhythm is just relentless, and it reminds me very much of Motorhead. Not that it sounds like Motorhead, but just this relentless rhythm. And when you crank it up, it's just like beating. It is fantastic, but I'll play this. This is an absolute ass kicker here. Down Home Train, 1957. Bo Diddley.
Yeah, I'm going to Appaloosa, all right. The train going through there, but I ain't getting off. baby. I'm going home to see my baby.
Next up, I got a Benny Joy record. I don't remember what I got. I think I got oh yeah, I got Crash. These are reissues on Norton. Benny Joy was a great rockabilly guy, probably from the best from Florida rockabilly cat in the 50s. And I got Crash the Party and Roll Into the Jukebox Rock, double-sider, fantastic. I'll play Crash the Party, but the reason I got this is because they put out a series of all four, like jukebox editions. This one's Spin the Bottle, Wild Wild Lover, insane. Both songs, great. Wild Wild Lover's insane. There's Steady with Betty and Miss Bobby Socks. And there's Hey High School Baby and Little Red Book. And so now I got all four. It's 8 killer tracks. Benny Joy's great. There's compilation albums available. I have a box set of everything he did on CD also. And then like I have an LP. But killer rockabilly. Here's Crash the Party.
Well, open the door, it's so cold outside. In below, please don't run and hide. Tell me, baby, do we stand a chance? Well, since we only cause we wanna make a romance, we're gonna crash the party. Crash the party. Crash the party and you better let her in. Well, blues boy.
Next up is a reissue of Satan's Rats, You Make Me Sick. This is great UK punk. And this is a reissue. I think it came out in 77 originally. And it's just classic UK punk. And actually produced by Vic Mail, who did a lot of Motorhead, Girls' School, and a lot of the pub rock bands, like maybe Eddie and the Hot Rods, definitely Dr. Feelgood. He did some punk. He did a lot of pub rock, like power pop, that crossover. But a great producer. And this is actually a pretty well produced. It's a hooky song, Satan's Rats. And this is by Overground Records. I'm assuming this came out in the 90s, but I don't know because I had this compilation in the 90s, Satan's Rats, and this is everything they recorded on Overground Records. And crazy band. I used to have just a local band or whatever, but the guys in the band had a MySpace, and you know how you put your influences. Oh, we like the Velvet Underground, Motorhead, Suicide, whatever, and they put Satan's Rats in there. And just as like a list of like 50 bands or whatever, just in the biography. But the guy from Satan Rats would contact my friends, my band members. I wasn't really on the computer much, and he'd say, oh, you Satan's Rats. And he would try to get money out of us thinking we were covering Satan's Rats songs. And he got really belligerent. And I think he was like a guy who would go to like a homeless guy or he was just a bad apple, but he would go to the internet cafe and look up Satan's Rats and see who owed him money, who was covering his song. I'm like, even if we covered your song, I mean, what are we making? $200 and split it between all the covers you do? We're going to send you $5, buddy. But we never covered a Satan's Rats song. And the guy was a complete ass. Like, he got really mean and you owe me money and this and that. And I thought it was crazy. But either way, Satan's Rats, I think they put out 3 singles and fantastic band.
You make me sick.
Going to be heavy metal, and this is new wave of British heavy metal, a little more on the commercial side. I'm not recommending this. We just got this. It was real cheap. I already had it on 45. This is Silverwing, and it's Mayhem Records. And actually, I wonder if this is Mayhem Records. Yep, Mayhem Records. And they're like a Def Leppard wannabe, but they're really ham-fisted and not very good. But I enjoy it. And there they are. The best part about, well, there's two great things. This cat is in one of those, the oversuits, you know, like one of those one-piece jumpers. And then there you're going to see one of the earliest Eddie Van Halen guitars, like a homemade Eddie Van Halen guitar in 1980. So that's pretty cool. I don't recommend this. I do recommend they have a single rock and roll 4-letter word. That is killer. And there is one good part. The Teenage Love Affair goes to another song called like Flash Bomb Baby or Flash Bomb Fever, which is almost like punk rock. That's great, but it's only like 30 seconds. I think on the LP, it's a little rougher and it's really cool. But I get a kick out of this. This is like a bad early Def Leppard, but done with a lot of heart. And they weren't a sellout band. It's basically how they were. And my wife bought this one, Neon Leon and the Bondage Babies. And this is, I think, 84. He was a cat from New York, actually a black guy, kind of doing like new wavy punk. And this is him in 84, recorded in Sweden. The band might actually be Swedish. I'm not sure on that. But this is great. It's almost like a Lords of the New Church. It's real catchy. It's just a 12-inch EP, 2 songs. It was cheap. And it's really good. What's it called? Girls, Guns, and Money. But Neon Leon, really cool. This was recommended for me from Joaquim, and I hope I say that right, Joaquim, and from Middle Life Crisis Ranch channel. And you want to talk about punk rock guys? This guy's a real punk rocker. I just show the records. But he does a bunch of recommends, and he recommended this record, and I didn't have this. I didn't even know who they were. I thought they were more of a modish kind of punk band. But this is The Outsiders. This is a reissue, Calling on Youth. And this is, I think, 78, 77? I can't remember now. And it was on 72, and it's licensed from Cherry Red. So I'm a little disappointed there's no inner or like biography, no picture of the band. But they're just a trio. And I'm very happy to have this. He didn't recommend this. He was just on his video, so I just went on my own. But I don't think this is that great. It sounds at times like just a bad rock band and a little proggy. It's a weird thing. But saying that, the opening track, Calling on Youth, is absolute killer punk rock, worth the price of admission just for that tune. And then the song Hit and Run sounds very much like the early Damned. So like if you had Calling on Youth and Hit and Run as a single, I probably would pay $50 for that. But to have it on an LP, 2 songs, I mean, the whole thing's an interesting listing, but 2 songs on an LP for 20, I feel is not as good a deal as 2 songs 100%, good on a 45. I'd pay more for that. But Calling on Youth is fantastic, fantastic. But it is a crazy, crazy record.
You better submit to your struggle hold. Grabbing what you can and doing what you're told. And I'm calling, on you to fight for your truth.
Next up, I got, this is just something I didn't have. It's Two-Way Army first album. I had CD, but not to get the LP. And this is pretty cool. I think it was pretty cheap. And it's Gary Newman, obviously, Two-Way Army, and it's the first album. And I love this. It actually, some of this reminds me of heavy metal. It's got the heavy guitar, and you can see Gary with a Gibson there. But great synth pop, with guitar, a punk rock, fantastic record. Can't go wrong with this. Every track solid. It sounds fantastic. I think it's on blue. Not that anyone cares, but everyone likes showing it. It's on some sort of blue vinyl, but Two-Way Army, reissue, the first record.
There is no point in going on tonight.
Another one, Zach, which I'll put a link to his channel. He plays old 45s and stuff. And he played a 45 that blew my mind. It was by Sanford Clark, the 1950s cat, but he played a 1960s tune, and I had to get it. And I looked it up, and the single's like $350 single. So I noticed they did a reissue. I don't know if it was Record Store Day or what, but they reissued it. And anyway, let me show you this. This is Sanford Clark, and It's Nothing to Me on the Ramco label. It looks pretty much like the original, but it has a different B-side. It has The Fool, which was his big hit in 1956. But let me go through. So Sanford Clark, 50s rockabilly guy, but kind of odd, like a little country tinge, but a little bit oddball because he worked with Lee Hazelwood. And he had a huge hit in 1956 on the Dot label. Actually, geez, I'm not showing that right. The Fool. And this is awesome rockabilly mid-tempo. He's always kind of mid-tempo and kind of laid back and cool, not like in-your-face rock and roll. But this was a huge hit. And it was actually Al Casey on guitar. Well, anyway, it was a huge hit. And it's the B-side on this, but when I got this record, it's an updated B-side with like fuzz guitar, and it's absolutely awesome. So I'm thrilled to get this. And this thing came with, I got it new, it came with a button of Sanford Clark. And I played it before, but Sanford Clark, and I think 57, 58, did a song with Lee Hazelwood called A Cheat. And this one I highly recommend. Awesome, very Lee Hazelwood, oddball kind of rock and roll tune. But I love Sanford Clark. There's a CD on Bear Family put out of all his stuff from 56 to 1960. This is basically his output of his rockabilly years. And I would like to get on 45. I'd love to get Love Charms and what's the other one? Still As the Night. Those are two awesome Sanford Clark tunes. But I'm going to put a sample. I'm going to put a sample of It's Nothing to Me. Great if you like Johnny Cash, but you like some fuzz guitar. Great tune. I'm going to put the sample of that. Then I will put the original Fool real quick. And I'm going to do the updated 1967 version with the fuzz. And I think Zach said Ramco, this company was actually owned by Lee Hazelwood at some point. So kind of interesting. And this was produced by Waylon Jennings, this Fool. And the other side produced by Floyd Ramsey. But anyway, but it's arranged by Jimmy Bryant, the hotshot guitar player from the 50s. And I think he's the guitar, the guitar on this is great guitar. Enough rambling about Sanford Clark. I'll play you the samples.
Take your drink to the end of the bar, buddy, let her stay there. Now don't be a fool. I'd as soon have a hot seat in same prison than to sit down by her on that stool. Gather round me, buddies, your glass is high and drink to a fool, a crazy fool who told his baby goodbye. Gather round me, buddies. Hold your glasses high and drink to a fool, a crazy fool who told his baby goodbye.
Anyway, I think that's it. Hope you enjoyed some of them anyway. And I'm going to put the links to those channels. Check out Zach, Joachim, Mike, and Alex. Cheers. Thanks for listening.